What's going on, family and friends? Hope all is well. Of course, stand in agreement with all peace, prosperity, and abundance in your life and in the life of your loved ones. Just want to, again, not only wish you a great rest of the day, but I usually stay behind the scene, but I wanted to speak on this only because it caught my attention this morning, and I want to shout out my good friend Larry Turnley, just someone I respect, has a great story, and respectfully, I can genuinely say from what I've seen has always been about the people and making sure there has been sustainability since I've met him. And that's been maybe a little over 5 years ago. And he's in the most unique situations and positions, especially with his influence. And he tries his best to represent, everyone. And so when I saw him speaking this morning, I had to catch my man LT, the general, make sure you support his business first and foremost. XGT training. That's one of the biggest ways you can show support to the community leaders that work around me. But he, shout out to the general. But saw the video and it did catch my attention just in listening to the general's thoughts. And also throughout the day, a lot of my friends that I'm close with that are just behind the scene movers and shakers don't like to be in the limelight like that, but do a lot of impactful work just for speaking on this. And one thing I knew, two things for certain, I knew that this was something that was on a community's mind because a lot of the individuals that make the direct and indirect impact were speaking on this, and a lot of times they don't really speak on things. So not like in this magnitude. So just wanted to look into this deeper, and for that reason, uh, just wanted to leave my thoughts. And so after watching the video, one of my first initial thoughts, this is just my feedback. One of my first initial thoughts was chaos theory. And if I'm not speaking out of ignorance, that's a subject that I try my best to study and get familiar with. If I'm not speaking out of ignorance, but chaos theory in so many words is basically putting yourself, like, chaos theory is basically someone doing something to you enough to where it makes you want to react in a way where it makes you look bad and it justifies, what the antagonist, if that's what it is, was actually trying to do. So what I mean by that is, if I can break it down a little more in layman's terms, someone that is intentionally trying to make you do something where you're in a position that makes you look bad, they're justified, and it can lead to so many other things. It's called chaos theory, and it's an actual strategy. I'm not speaking out of intention. So the first thing I thought was, okay, chaos theory, because I know that if nothing else, there's going to be emotions that's going to arise out of this. If nothing else, respectfully, that's just how it goes. And so when you're dealing with chaos theory and any kind of emotion jumping off that's unbalanced, you have an opportunity for situations. And so that's the first thing I thought was, okay, chaos theory. Then the second thing I thought was emotional intelligence all the way here. What does that look like? What does that mean? How far does that go? That's not the point of what I'm trying to say, but emotional intelligence came to my mind. And then also I thought of my man, J.C. Shegog in the Middle Tennessee area. J as in junior, C as in cat, Shgogg. I thank Mr. J.C. Shegog for his service, military, retired military, respectfully. And he has a consulting practice where he teaches self-defense, and not where you're going out looking for trouble, but just self-defense. All this was going through my mind, and J.C. Shegog has been someone featured on some of Middle Tennessee's most prominent networks, actually talking about self-defense and actually serving as an advisor and consultant to various activities that happen in law enforcement that kind of brought up public concern, and he spoke on some things, in the media on behalf of the brand that asked him to come down. So he's very, very influential. JC Shegog, make sure just reach out to that gentleman there. But first and foremost, it's left field. I'm just giving my thoughts. I'm just standing and covering covering law enforcement, during this situation, just covering them and making sure that the policies and procedures are being met and acted out at the highest of standards. And just being in law enforcement, it's just a unique thing. And these are one of the things that makes it unique, And so people choose to do that. I know people want to get home to their families, and I pray everyone has easy money. So for that reason, law enforcement is supposed to step into those things. So for that reason, I'm just standing and covering for them. So that way everybody's okay and safe. But that comes to my mind as well. And, law enforcement just keeping things to a point where it's just everyone is safe and the well-being at the highest of standards for everyone involved. So that's a position of law enforcement. It's a tough position. I tip my hat off. If you guys get a chance, check out my YouTube channel. I participated in a 9-week citizens police uh, academy for 9 weeks, where I went to this police department and walked through the process and learned and asked questions. Didn't get tased. I was about to get tased. But at any rate, with that being said, that's why I say for people to think twice before they go into office or want to run, because we all have passion and we want to make a change and yada, all that good stuff respectfully. But when stuff like this hits the fan, it's on the elected officials, to be in those positions, to be in those unique positions. So if you're not really ready to handle that or be in that position and respectfully be able to take perspectives from all different angles and still be a great leader, do not do it. Because these are the moments that people remember. These are the moments that people buy into things. These are the moments where the truth is incontrovertible. Respectfully, I say that. And so for that reason, I said, well, with me being, former elected official to some capacity, serving in community engagement, being around government relations, if I had any advice for, this is, some things happen. I believe words were even said, what can be done in situations like that an elected official can do? What actually can be done? Because the people are passionate. We don't need no one being in a position of any situation they don't need to be in. We don't need that. And then I respectfully don't want law enforcement to have to do their job. I want everybody to live in peace, so what does that look like? Some, situation happened, and what does that look like? So I went on to ChatGPT, respectfully. I serve as an advisor and a consultant in a lot of different capacities, business, government, community relations. I just typed in, what does that look like? What can an elected official do? For, racial slurs happen to come up, and obviously there's a concern. People are concerned. Community leaders are concerned, so there's a few things that popped up. Just want to throw them out there to you for us all to think about, and for the elected officials that happen to be watching, both in the area or around the world. This is a way for you to get more engaged in the community, get more buy-in, and during times like this, it's going to affect your short and your long-term messaging. And what I mean by that is, first, according to ChatGPT, I'm just speaking in general, when PR situations like this pop up, real-life situations like this pop up, some of the things that you can do as an elected official: public denouncement. The official can publicly condemn the behavior and make it clear that such actions are not acceptable in the community or jurisdiction. I don't know if anyone's done that. If anyone has done that, and that right there off the bat can maybe bring some peace of mind to some of the constituents. Second thing is support for victims. Respectfully, if I heard correctly, someone may have gotten assaulted. So again, I'm standing out of it, but these are things that as an elected official, what can you do? And so if there was victims, how are you able to support them? How can you offer support to the individuals or the communities targeted by the racial slurs, showing solidarity and ensuring they feel protected and heard? You can also take legal action. And I think LT was breaking some things down. Legal action, depending on local laws, the official may explore legal avenues if the behavior crosses the hate speech or harassment. This can involve working with law enforcement to investigate and potentially prosecute the offender. Now, again, if you're denouncing these things and you're making a public statement, you're already breaking these things down as far as supporting your victims, the legal actions being taken. The community engagement is the next one: engaging with community leaders, organizations, and residents to discuss issues of racism, intolerance, and working together to promote understanding and inclusivity. Respectfully, this is what the community leaders have, from what I've seen, always allowed elected officials or those campaigning the opportunity to do: engage the community. And it's moments like these, again, where people are looking like, we elected you and we want to be bought into the process here, but how can we buy in if we don't feel supported and may not feel safe? And I'm only bringing this up because, again, I'm just recognizing a lot of community leaders speaking about this. I'm like, wow, let me see what's going on. And it's something that really needs to be discussed. And if I were an elected official, again, this is what I'm thinking, and I'm throwing it out to elected officials: what does that support look like? Public denouncement, support for the victims, legal action, community engagement, what you already have access to. It's all campaign season, everybody's right there. Wanting to get shakes and handshakes and taking pictures, but these are the moments, respectfully, I say. Policy and legislation, pushing pushing for or supporting policies and legislation that address hate speech and promote tolerance within their jurisdiction. Again, this is why it's so sensitive, and it's a unique position to be a elected official, because you have to look at constitutional rights, you have to look at current policies, you have to be realistic and look at people and human beings and put all that together and make legislation that tries to make it work. Someone's not going to be happy. I'm not for more policies, and situations like these can create more policies. That could be by design or just situations that happen. And again, this is why I respectfully say, if you're going to be elected official, you want to run school board or whatever, think about these moments, because now if you have a family, you're going through all that process, you got to bring the public into your private, into your personal. And respectfully, the public is expecting results, at least some type of reaction to an action. And respectfully, I'm assuming the elected officials from the local to the state level, are speaking on this or acting on this. I'm just giving my thoughts and just saying, if I were an advisor, if I were in this position, what would I be saying to an elected official right now? And just throwing it out there. Education and awareness, promoting educational initiatives to combat racism, raise awareness about its impact, and foster a more inclusive environment. I think these things are happening pretty strong. Monitoring and reporting, encouraging people to report incidents of racial harassment or hate speech, and ensuring that appropriate actions are taken in response. I'm going to just say this about this point when it comes to monitoring and reporting, because I see a lot of interaction on the social media, which is the number one way or one of the most predominant ways of communicating these days. Because I see a lot of impactful leaders conversing about this, and community residents leaving their thoughts and all that, I'm really hoping to see some type of monitoring and reporting system, not just for this incident, but just in general. But what does that monitoring and report system looks like as a community, and how can we do it in love, peace, and unity? Not out of spite or anything other than we just want to make sure we are a complement, not only to our own community, but a complement to the community at large, simply because we have our own system of monitoring and reporting and holding ourselves and others accountable. That may be left field, but these are my thoughts. Overall, elected officials have a role in setting the tone for their communities and use their position to advocate for measures that uphold principles of equality, respect, and respect for all individuals. So again, emotional intelligence, in any situation, you want to look at what is the origin, the purpose, and the function of something. The origin, the purpose, and the function. So even looking at the situation or those involved, what's the origin, what's the purpose, what's the function, to kind of get and again, this is another conversation, or this is a sensitive conversation that I usually don't speak on publicly, but I say, you know what, let me jump on and leave my thoughts. And if there's any way that this can bring solidarity, peace, and unity, I'm hoping that's the case. Leave your thoughts on, in the comments of what you think. Hopefully this was not, a waste of anyone's time, and I'm not speaking out of ignorance, where I'm, my lack of intelligence is being displayed, or, all those good things. But anyway, let me know what you think. I give thanks in advance for grace, for patience, for emotional intelligence, for peace and prosperity for all of us, for humanity, as most of humanity wants to live a fulfilling life, go about their business, be the best neighbor they can be, enjoy their life to the fullest, and teach the future of tomorrow how, the values that will be valued and an asset for that future generation as they go through life. The purpose of biology is to survive and reproduce, and we want to create a system where we're able to not only survive but thrive. And so we want to just pass on that. We want to just pass on, those values. So leave your thoughts. Peace and prosperity again to you. And again, to all the community leaders out there that, I work with, and that, who, I really, I don't say a whole lot, but at the end of the day, and folks like Larry Turnley and others that have been speaking on here, I'm going to shout out my man. I am Robert Savage. Rob is Savage podcast. I want to shout him out and what he's doing. I just see a lot of good people, that have their perspective and care about the community. And so in that situation, man, we all just bring it back to the table of, you know, what I just said. And mostly at the end of the day, the elected officials, respectfully, I know it's a tough position and you may not be in a position to publicly denounce it. Everybody has their own thing going on. It's a lot going on behind the scenes. So for that reason, again, I just stand in agreement for the spiritual side to step in first and foremost and give everyone that courage, the strength, the power they need, the grace that's needed to be in a position like this, to speak on situations like this and unite, and do it in a way that's uniting. And the things that I listed, public denouncement, support for victims, legal action, community engagement, policy and legislation, education and awareness, monitoring and reporting are ways that an elected official can come out right now and do something. And at least that's going to give people the peace of mind and the wherewithal. I don't know why that word's coming to my mind, but the wherewithal, I don't know why I want to say it, but I'll say it, to say, you know what? We are all in this together. We may fall short, but we're going to figure out how to get through this in a way that's loving and that we can learn from and get better in. Easier said than done. That's why we hope and dream and work towards those things. And that's all we can hope for. Hey, let me know what you think in the comments again. Wishing everybody the best. Talk to you soon.